Hey, Alex from Stoic Conditioning, and I'm joined by Wilhelm from Aimpoint. We're going to be talking through the Acro sight and optics. So if you could go ahead and introduce the optic and kind of talk us through the characteristics of this sight.
Absolutely. So the Acro P2 was introduced to the market in 2021. It was a follow-up or upgrade of the Acro P1 introduced to the market in 2018. The Acro P2 was fully redesigned from the older P1. Big difference or big improvement being the battery lifetime, now using a standard Seer 2032 battery. But there was also some other features that we improved, especially with the inner tube and angling of the red dot or the LED, let's say, inside the red dot sight. So yeah, again, introduced 2021, following up on the Acro P1. Now, if we go even further back, the Acro P1 was the first fully enclosed micro red dot sight to be introduced to the market. And Aimpoint knew that we were late in the game for pistol-mounted optic, and that's what it was designed for. In choosing to design the pistol optic, Aimpoint made a conscious choice to stand out from the crowd, let's say, and then choosing to be the first fully enclosed emitter on the market. And we saw a huge interest in the P1 for that reason. But as I said, there were room for improvement,
Yeah.
and thus the P2 was introduced to the market. With every sight from Aimpoint, you get an Aimpoint tool. Now the tool will obviously correspond to adjustment packs, lock and screw, and so on. The tool for the Acro has a flat surface. That's for the battery cap. If you use the traditional, somewhat curved, you will create a glitch, and you'll scathe the battery cap. But use the flat surface to change out the battery as such.
That's great. So could you go through like best practices on how to mount and maybe demonstrate it for us as well?
Absolutely. So as I said, it was designed for pistols, so we're just to showcase, we're going to use a blue gun here. Um, for any pistols that the Acro was designed for, on the base plate, we use a adapter plate for whatever platform it is. The screws we put Loctite on. We use 1.3 Newton meter Torx on it. And then the Acro itself, just place it on, push it forward, and no need for Loctite, but we use a 3 Newton meter Torx on that. So here I only have a Aimpoint tool, but to get it correctly, obviously use a Torx key.
Okay.
3 Newton meter. Now, mounting it on a carbine, submachine gun, or whatever, basically it's the same principles. Push forward in the groove, lock it with 3 Newton, and then you're good to go.
Awesome. So could you talk us through the optic and how best it can be used or how it can be used?
All right, so again, it was designed for pistols, but we're seeing a huge interest in the sight for a number of other platforms. Anything from submachine guns, PDVs, shotguns, but also we're having customers use it and run it as the main optic for carbines, especially in, let's say, short range configurations.
Yeah.
It's a traditional inner tube with outer housing. In the inner tube, the LED is fixed toward the lens. That's how we can mitigate the parallax and get it as low as possible.
Yeah.
And then when you zero the sight, you're actually moving the inner tube inside the outer housing. That's how you zero the gun, manipulating the inner tube. To mitigate the risk of flaring of the red dot, in the inner tube you have grooves or what's called rifling, and that is to trap excess light. You have push buttons on the side, plus minus. The buttons are somewhat protected in the battery cap. Has a protective front lens. The front lens is sacrificial So even if you break the front lens, you still have a functioning red dot.
Yeah.
And principally, same thing goes with the rear lens. Rear lens is just to protect the optics for debris and moisture and so on and so forth. But breaking it will not limit the red dot itself, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
That is just to protect the optics. One reason why the Acro is so popular is it's very tough and durable, and the design of the optic is the main reason. Obviously, we have a built-in recoil stop in the base plate, and then we secure the Acro with like a clamp style mounting instead of like traditional micro red dot sights where you use screws going through the base plate into the mount. Screws always being the weak point of a system like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Acro has 10 intensity settings. It has 4 night vision compatible, not visible to the naked eye, and then 6 daytime settings. The Acro was designed to withstand 40 caliber Smith & Wesson, sitting on top of a 40 caliber gun.
Yeah.
Now, the G-forces on a pistol slide is really, really harsh. It's the most harsh environment for optics, let's say. So comparing the pistol slide to carbines, a 7.62 carbine on average has a G-force of roughly somewhere 800 Gs. 9mm pistol has G-forces, depending on make and model, between 5 and 6,000 Gs. But the 40 caliber Smith & Wesson has G-forces of somewhere around 8,000 Gs.
Wow.
So the standards that the Acro was built to withstand is very, very high.
Yeah.
And we promise 40,000 rounds using 40 caliber Smith & Wesson. Because it's a pistol optic, we opted to make the size of the red dot somewhat higher or bigger. So on the Acro, standard Acro, we have a 3.5 MOA red dot. And 3.5 being big enough so it's quick and easy in short distance, quick situations to catch. But it's also small enough for a somewhat bigger platform, submachine gun or so, to get some distance and still be accurate. So using the CR2032 battery on setting 6, it gives you a 5-year battery life with the sight constantly on. Obviously, battery life will decrease with higher settings, but at setting 6, you have 5-year battery life with the sight constantly on.
And so, in terms of pre-firing checks for our community and users, what would you recommend, and what's kind of best practices for it?
Well, as I said, it's a fully enclosed system, so personally, I just check the lenses and make sure there's no cracks or so on. Make sure that the battery cap is fully sealed, that there's no spacing between the battery cap and the housing. But then it's just put the dot at the intensity you want, and you're good to go.
Nice.
And because we're using a LED, a LED will never die on you, as opposed to using a laser as your light source. As long as there's a current running through the 2 spools on the LED will be lit to some extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
That meaning that when the battery life starts to decrease and the battery cannot push enough current into the 2 spools to uphold the same intensity at the same level, you as a shooter will notice that, all right, my intensity 8 is not as bright as it normally is. Well, that is an indication that the battery is going dead or going bad. But if the sight is on pre-patrol, the sight will be on throughout the operation.
Okay. So talking through like a zeroing procedure, again, what kind of best practices would you recommend for that?
First off, making sure that the mount is correctly done. A lot of users actually miss out on pushing sights forward, and that goes for any attachments to any weapon. Always push forward in the groove before locking it down. But zeroing procedures it's a little bit up to the customer or to the shooter, depending on what routines a unit or someone has. Now, at Aimpoint, we zero our guns to 25, or pistols at 25, but we start at 10 just to get just to make sure that it's within paper and so on. But for every site, we have unique zeroing targets. You can find them on the website on the product page. So there's unique zeroing targets for the specific optic choice. Now the Acro's adjustments are 20 millimeters at 100 meter for each click. Now the clicks on the adjustment packs are very distinct. They're very tactile. You both feel and hear them. And that's very important. Now, that being said, it's easy to zero a red dot from Aimpoint because of the adjustment package and the zeroing targets. So each square will reference to how many clicks on a target, how the zeroing targets are made up. But we usually shoot three rounds, count the squares, how much you need to click, let's say, and always keep in mind that we move the point of impact. We always, when we adjust and zero a red dot, we move the point of impact to where we want it, right? So yeah, 3 shots, make adjustment, and then 3 shots more just to check.
Yeah.
And normally, I would say, if you mount it correctly and so on, it doesn't take more than, should not take more than 9-10 rounds to get a gun properly zeroed.
Yeah. So in terms of maintenance of the site, can you talk us through kind of like how best to maintain it and best practices in terms of like what you recommend?
Absolutely. Well, all Aimpoint sites are completely sealed. They're all submersible. The Acro at 35 meters. So for any dirt or debris, just put it under the tap. And to clean out lenses, I would say use a normal dish detergent and clean off the lenses under running tap. Make sure that the battery cap is sealed though. Yeah, as long as it's no cracks on the lenses, clean. I would just make sure that have a routine when to change batteries. Because I might say 5-year battery life. Well, that's how much the LED and the circuitry requires, let's say. So you have 5-year battery life, but the limitation will always be the quality of the battery itself. Do we recommend the customer to leave the battery for 5 years? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But that's how long the site will last with our circuitry.
Awesome. So we've covered maintenance. In terms of faults and identifying faults and then potential remedies for those faults, can you give us a quick rundown of how a user could identify those faults and any quick remedies they could use to fix that?
Again, if a shooter experiences that the impacts of the rounds are not where they are supposed to be after having zeroed the gun, I would say 99 times out of 100, it's because it's not mounted correctly. If there is any glitch in the LED, it comes off and on and on, off and on, most likely, and we've seen this for many years now, it's because the shooter has not sealed or closed the battery compartment fully.
Okay.
And if there is any glitch from the battery compartment to the site housing, it leaves room for the battery to come loose during fire. And that's what creates the glitch. Just make sure that the battery is completely sealed. No space between the battery and the housing. Other than that, should be good to go.
Awesome. Well, I want to say, Wilhelm, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. It's awesome to get a chance to sit down with you and talk through the Acro site. So
Thanks for coming.
Guys, if you have any questions for us or for Aimpoint, pop them in the comments section below, and we'll make sure it gets over to you. Is there anywhere our users and our community can get hold of you if they have any questions or anything they need to get over to you?
Well, on Aimpoint's website, there's an info mail. Based on whoever writes into the info mail, that mail will get dispersed to the correct individual.
Right person. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, guys, from everyone behind the team at Stoic, wherever you are in the world, stay safe. We'll catch you on the next one.